Well, good afternoon. Happy Tuesday, everybody. It's AndaRa, the Dragon Lady, coming to you live here on what is, for me, a very snowy, blizzardy Tuesday. We had clear skies last night to see the moon, and it was just incredible. So I want to talk about that a little bit and the energies of that. And now we're ensconced in this beautiful blizzard. Makes you want to go inside, drink hot chocolate. I've got my hot chocolate here. And just prepping energetically with what's come in this morning and what's going on in my group sphere as I move into every Tuesday. I teach my quantum flight group, and we're halfway through that. Hard to believe how fast it goes, but there's some really powerful energies going on. As powerful as they are, there's a softness within it that I want you to take note of, and that has to do with that feminine piece coming from the moon. So the moon dragon, I pulled the cards out just so you can see them up close. We've got the beautiful canvas here behind me. But in the deck, we've got the moon dragon, who's about embrace, yielding, and grace, but also about tenderness. Absolutely incredible. We've got, sorry if the signal cuts out in and out here. I've got my full bandwidth, but with the snowstorm, we might get finicky signals here. So in the United States, here it is our election day. So interesting that we've got this big crazy weather going on the East Coast, and here snowstorms over where we're at. But the full moon last night, the full lunar eclipse, which won't happen again for several years till 2025. I don't think I've ever had the circumstance or situation to see the fullness of it, whether I've been asleep or the cloud cover was blocking it, or it was the wrong time of day where I couldn't see it. So I made a point last night. Typically I wake up in the middle of the night multiple times, and around 1:30, 1:45, I thought, I'm going to get up and go see, because it was supposed to be from 1 to 4 a.m. here. And so I went outside, and it was cloudy yesterday. We had a little bit of precipitation, and expected, probably not going to be anything, but I'm going to go check. So it was such a great gift. I went outside, and the sky was lit up with stars. It was crystal clear. They were brilliant bright, and the moon was glowing just in full presence in a perfect center sky. And it had just started. So I started seeing the shadow coming across that was making it red. Really incredible. And I'm sad that I didn't get pictures. So I went back in because my son had wanted to see it. And I laid there for about another 45 minutes, and then went and woke him up and said, hey, you want to see the red moon? It's pretty incredible. So we went outside maybe 2:30, 2:45, and it was almost completely full red, just a little sliver of white. And the power within that, it's not only mesmerizing, and if you got to see it, fabulous. If you didn't, look online to just see some photos and connect with that energy. It just captured the essence of the depth of the feminine. With the blood moon, there's that whole aspect of the womb space and the blood of the cycle, and what that does as far as the feminine power, and that the power is really in the tenderness that is held within that feminine. So I thought that an interesting place of feeling this incredible energetic dynamic enfolding us right now. That is an unusual phenomenon. It won't happen again, as I said, for several years. But when I woke up this morning and I tapped into the group sphere with my quantum flight, which is also connected with this larger for the love of dragons, and immediately I was greeted with an eye, the eye of the dragon. And that's really what I want to talk about today, because that level of work takes us to a new aspect within ourselves with the dragons, and not a lot of people are aware of that work. They're not aware of, they see eyes, but what do you do with that? And it's interesting to me too that tied in with that, today I've got the rainbow dragon that wanted to be present in the sphere with us. So the rainbow dragon's on the wall, and the rainbow dragon is really about multidimensional expansion, with all the facets and rays refracting off of her, and the ethereal levity and spaciousness that he carries. That tied together with the power of the eye. So let's talk about the eye of the dragon. And this is the card from the deck. I don't have it as a print, so I can't show it, but literally the eye that I saw this morning was more aquamarine, much like my pendant. I'll hold that up because this is my particular AndaRa. There you can see the reflection of the aquamarine. The eye was this color, and it was like that was all that I could focus on. It felt like it was on a white background or a crystal clear. It was definitely like my dragon, my aquamarine water dragon. And that aquamarine eye, when we go into the eye, so this talks about healing, testing, and challenge. But the core theme or the core energetic of the eye of the dragon is vulnerability. And with that testing, with that challenge, that when a dragon looks upon you with their eye, you feel that like they're scanning you, like, whoa, I'm transparent here. They're seeing right through me. You can hide nothing. And what does that do? That makes you vulnerable. And that's the place of strength that they're trying to take you to. That vulnerability and tenderness are how we reach multidimensional expansion. And that's all coalescing today with the cycle of the moon we're in, and this soft, tender energy that I'm feeling it today because I'm just ensconced in this cloudy, snowy, just like being in a cave, like just feel the softness coming down. And with that vulnerability and being able to become vulnerable, the eye of the dragon work, and it's described in the book with multiple of the dragons, particularly the elementals. And so that's a first level of working with the eye of the water dragon, the fire dragon, the earth dragon, the air dragon. And what happens in working with their eye, it takes you to a whole nother level of work in the depths of what they have to offer. And when you allow them to present themselves and drop their head down to you where you literally can see the fullness of the eye, you're being invited into communion with them on a deep soul level. Eyes of the window of the soul, right? So being brought into that, if you have an eye being presented, a lot of times we look at it and we sort of, whoa, feel intimidated or definitely vulnerable, and I don't know what to do with that. And then we walk away from it like, oh, I saw this dragon eye. Excellent. Well, I encourage you in your meditations to, if you're seeing an eye or you want to invite that experience in, to call a dragon forth and ask, am I ready to experience going into your eye, to actually walk into that inner chamber with you? And as I describe the work in the book, when that presents, you literally are face to eye with the dragon, and you wait until you get drawn in. You almost sort of slide right in through the pupil. And then this whole new experience opens up where you're literally inside the inner chamber of their eye, and they can show you a lot more depth and things to access within yourself, to mirror back to you, to remind you of. Everybody's meditation experience is different, but there's pieces that bring that higher level of work with the dragons by being vulnerable enough to go into their inner chamber. And you think, well, it feels like it takes courage to go in there, and indeed it does, but the truth is that you're making yourself vulnerable enough to go into a space where you don't know what's going to happen in there. You don't know what's going to happen if you go into the eye of a dragon. And that is where, by showing that humility, that vulnerability, you actually get received and invited in. And you might not be the first time or two. You might have to wait until you are really ready to have that level of work, and the dragon will show you why, or take you on a different journey that doesn't involve that. So don't be put off or saddened if you're not quite ready for that. There's just other pieces that have to fall into place before you can go there. But once you are, you're showing that humility, that vulnerability to trust your own guidance and what's presenting. Because if there's an eye presenting, your guides and higher self are saying, there's something more for you here. Are you willing to dive in? And as you allow that vulnerability state is actually what the dragon is looking for, to receive you in and have a whole nother level of work. So that's where we're at with the energy today, and that is bringing about, as I said, the rainbow dragon wanted to be present, another multidimensional expansion, another level of opening yourself up, opening into, and accessing higher levels. There's something shifting with the lunar eclipse and all the energetic dynamic of where we're at as a collective, that there's something brewing that is, it's interesting because I can feel the energy in the background. It's like this very, very individual piece that adds a greater puzzle piece to the collective in a positive way. That all of us are connected to the collective. And as each of us actually go through this inner chamber of our own expansion and bring that up a notch, then the collective gets enhanced. And so that's the process we're in right now, that I'm sensing that there's a softness to it, there's a vulnerability to it, and a need to internalize, to drop into my own space, my own journey of expansion, my own, it's not even necessarily a need, it's just my path that then allows the collective to flower, the collective to go to another level. And so just encouraging you, if you've seen the eye or you haven't really thought about that as a possibility for work, to allow yourself to slide into, to invite the dragon to come and sit with them with your intention. I would like to experience what it is like in the eye of a dragon and see if they will drop their head and you be received and brought in. And it is literally like a sliding. You'll feel yourself in your meditation where you almost just get gravitationally, or magnetically is actually more accurate, magnetically pulled like a force field that is merging with you and changing and shifting the space around you, where you realize you're actually in that inner chamber, and then what the dragon can share with you from that place. So hopefully that encourages you and makes sense as to a whole nother way of working with the dragons, a whole nother expansion tool and gift that they have for us that most often is either overlooked or not realized when there's an eye presenting. So knowing that lots of you share about having seen eyes, or eyes have been presenting, and feeling like, let's encourage that to go to another level. Let's encourage you to dive into what that experience is. And if you have questions for me, either about that or anything else with the dragons, please send me an email or put a post comment on the video, or an instant message, because that's useful for everybody in the group, for me to be able to bring that as a subject on a Tuesday that then benefits everyone. And, you know, I always have subjects that I can bring in and talk about, but I want you guys to have what you're needing right now in the journey, because we're at a precipice, we're at a juncture where we're just having these expansion after expansion after expansion, and there's big shifts afoot, there's big things happening globally and collectively. And so what is your part in that? How do you stay focused on what you need internally? So if you have questions, please reach out. A lot of you have taken advantage of the 20-minute discovery calls that I do. If you're not aware of that, on my booking calendar, which is the Book Now button on the homepage of dragonwithin.com or invokehealing.com, there's a Book Now button. And when that takes you to the calendar of all the different options for sessions and dates and all that, there's a 20-minute free discovery call. That it's not a reading. It's not meant to go in and answer personal questions or family dynamics or things. It's really about you being able to ask, this is what's gone on for me in my path. What is the next step? Like, what would be a useful tool for me? How can I get where I need to go? And this is where I want to go. So that we can have that discussion and then get that feel energetically. Am I even the right fit for you moving forward? Am I the guide that you've called forth for the next level of work for you? And just allowing you to feel into that. And if on my calendar, I'm often booked 3 weeks out. So if you don't see anything, it only books that far out. Keep checking in a few days to see if something's open for the following week. I'm not booked out for the next 2 years, I guarantee. So I do have things blocked off for different family things or vacations, but otherwise you're going to see openings. And if you absolutely don't see anything after several tries, send me an email, araya@dragonwithin.com or araya@invokehealing.com, and I will see where I can squeeze you in. Because sometimes I do get cancellations or little holes in my schedule where I can slide somebody in that's been struggling to get on the calendar. All right. Happy Tuesday. Have a fabulous week, everyone. And I will see you next Tuesday. Bye for now.